see, so it's like very mixed bag of results.
Okay.
Nice job with the last one.
Oh dear.
That's what counts.
There are some passages in the piano repertoire that are not only difficult, they're awkward. These are moments which push the pianist beyond what is conventionally considered pianistic, demanding strange hand positions, counterintuitive coordination, or downright inhuman leaps. I thought, what better way to understand this uniquely painful brand of piano writing than to try and play some of it myself? And who better to guide and help me understand the physical mechanics required for these passages than pianist Denis Danov? Together we picked 3 of the most brutal examples we could think of, and then met online to dissect them. Our first choice was the notoriously tricky corner from the first movement of Beethoven's Opus 81 Sonata, a double and triple note nightmare with rapidly changing intervals, varied articulation, and abrupt changes in direction.
That's pretty
bit
decent,
sloppy.
actually.
Oh, and it's really fast.
Maybe perhaps could you tell us, Dennis, why you chose this section?
Oh, absolutely, because it was my competition kind of piece, which I used to play a lot when I was a teenager. And I was pretty much sure about the whole sonata, but those specific 2 bars, of course, gave me a little bit of goosebumps every time I played it, so I could only give like 80% guarantee that it would be perfect. And of course, I wanted to be perfect, because on a competition, that's what you want. So I was practicing it a lot and still didn't feel secure. All until the point where I played it to my teacher, Eliso Versaladze, who is, of course, a fantastic player, and she suggested a very smart, counterintuitive, weird fingering, which resolves any kind of issues. So I can share it with you and we can see whether it works. But in order for this to work, you have to have a very dexterous and loose thumb, because the fingering goes like this. You play 1-5, 2-4, 1-3, 1-2. So you basically have 5-4-3-2 in the upper voice. And this upper voice serves you as an anchor, and the bottom voice 1-2-1-1-1. You just play with a very loose thumb, not really moving the thumb around, but using a tiny bit of forearm rotation, keeping the thumb loose and very close to the keys. Good. Now, another thing we would want to do is to strengthen your 4th finger when you go to that interval. Go forward. So it's like a pulling motion out of the keyboard and push in the keyboard. And the next pair, same thing. On contour motions. Another challenge for you, I see that in addition to long, beautiful fingers, you might have a little bit of hypermobility syndrome, which creates this weakness and the tendency to bend at the last joints. Which, of course, is quite tough for these spots. So for learners with such flexible fingers, of course, it's crucial to develop muscle strength, which causes an extended risk of injury, because they have to compensate the lack of skeletal resistance by using the muscle. So, of course, such piano players should be very cautious about efficiency and avoiding tension and stuff. If you'd have a little bit more stability, like skeletal stability at this joint, of course, it would be easier. Like I can just push forward, not really working with my finger, and these joints, they kind of do the job. I don't really strengthen them.
Is this made even more difficult just because the hand is stretched out in a wide interval?
Well, here's the trick. You have to relax the lower voices instantly. That's why we're not holding the 4th finger, just to concentrate on that stability of the 4th. In order to learn the 2nd bar, we're going to do it in a few steps, in a few layers. First, by playing it in groups, chunking it. This is our first group, just 3 chords. And I play them using fingers of 3, 4, 5, like this. Now, the first stage is just to develop a bouncing motion, the fingers where you drop the hand, feel the bottom of the keys, and as soon as you feel the bottom of the keys, you relax the fingers and raise the forearm. So that's the motion. Very well, and you do that Same motion for 3 chords. Good. Try to stay a little bit more in touch with the bottom, just a little bit more weight. Good. And in the lowest point, your wrist has to be at the key level. So it doesn't remain high, but it has to dive at the key level. Not lower, but to the key level. And then you gently bounce off a little bit. Exactly. So that's the first layer of work. The second group will be just 2 chords. And here we change the fingers. So 3, 4, 5, and the next group 4, 5. The third group will be this one. Very well. As soon as you are good with that, as soon as you can play it in a, let's say, moderate tempo and feel comfortable, you start accelerating it, still playing it in groups, gaps between the groups. But at this moment, we are building the next layer of motions, a uniting motion. So those jumpy motions, they remain at the level of the hand. But in the forearm, we use one uniting motion per group. Yeah, and the next group also. This is a little bit more tricky, but still going down, up. Very well. That's great. That's the second layer. And the third would be to minimize those gaps and minimize the motions between the groups, but still feel it like in a set of micro waves. And regarding that spot, you mentioned that that's the most uncomfortable spot here. So what you do here, actually, what I do here sometimes, I cheat. And I skip one note, this B natural. So instead of this chord, I play just a sixth sometimes. And when you play it quicker, it's not really noticeable. You see?
Not too bad.
That's
too
pretty
bad.
Good, actually. That's actually pretty good.
If you think that you could benefit from Dennis's expert guidance, then you're in luck. Right now, he's offering 50% off for all his courses. Comprehensive tutorials on a range of pieces covering technique, interpretation, and more. Use the code VINER in the link below and upgrade your technique now. Next up, we chose a single bar from Chopin's dreaded double thirds study. The words awkward and Chopin seldom appear in the same sentence, but if you're at all familiar with this passage, then you'll know just how sadistic it is.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, I know.
Both having a quick practice.
The most awkward and most dangerous thing here for piano learners is that the first passage is so easy that most of pianists tend to, just show off and then you obviously can't play it as quickly, so you're That's why the lesson number 1, never play the previous passage fast. Play it actually slower than you want and just concentrating on this beautiful just pretend to be very musical here. And then you just do the same thing so then it will be more cohesive.
Let's see how it goes. So. One more, maybe?
Yeah, so basically, by practicing this passage, the first thing you want to do is to offload the fingers 5-4 quickly when supporting fingers 1 and 2. So what you do is really hang on fingers 1, 2. And while you hang on these fingers, you relax the other fingers and let them adjust to the next position instantly. So while playing these fingers, you already feel the next keys. And vice versa, supporting these fingers and preparing the next. So always like working in advance. Another thing is that fingering is quite tricky here, and for people it might have a drastic difference whether to use 5/3 or 5/4. So you have to kind of check out both versions and to really make sure that you have chosen the best fingering for you, because it's different for every person.
I suppose one question I had was whether my arm should be doing all of this to get the right angle for the hand.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's inevitable. Of course, ideally would be to stay in one like level, but just because it's constantly like somewhere around that keys, it's probably impossible. So I would say that it's absolutely normal to have a little bit of that adjustment. It's just that you really have to let the other fingers go, relax them properly, and feel the keys with relaxed fingers first and then work. Yeah, another thing, again, just returning to the basics of hand position, would be great to develop a little bit more stability in the fifth finger and offload the wrist a little bit, so the wrist would be a little bit lower than the knuckles here, where you could feel the stability in 5/4, but still have some looseness in the wrist. You know, when you work on such spots, you want to explore as many learning strategies as possible, like, for example, even dotted rhythms. Or I don't know why, but repeating the same note twice with a good relaxation between the strikes helps a lot to get rid of static tension.
Could I also ask how you actually shape these two bars? Because I think there are, again, I've sort of got ideas of how I would like to, but then the kind of the awkwardness gets in the way of what I'd really like to bring out in this passage. Obviously that left hand, but actually specifically the right hand. Are you going towards the second bar and then fading away?
The right hand here is just, for me, it's more of a background and like a watercolor background, not painted with oil, but more transparent something. What I like is to make a little bit less pedal by the end of the bar to highlight those staccati. Here you can use a little bit different color maybe because we have more flats. So for me, keys with flats sound a little bit more colorful and kind of a little bit more deep. Maybe like dark blue versus tint. But still kind of quiet. So then, so that would be like an outbreak.
To finish, we selected one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever tried to play, the second movement coda from Schumann's epic Fantasie. I'll admit I was pretty nervous about this one, and it devoured a large portion of my limited practice time. Dennis was hardly encouraging.
This is the moment I've been dreading for a month, yeah.
Okay. So if it makes you feel better, I can say that such spots, especially this Schumann spot, but also Chopin, they are very difficult for also concert pianists who just all they do play piano all day, and it's still very tough. One famous pianist, I forgot who because there are too many of them, but one of them said that it's not useful to practice this spot. The best thing you can do is just to pray on stage. So I can't fully agree to that because in my experience when I used to play this piece a lot and when I used to practice it a lot, I could be very sure about that spot. But now, since I don't play it for quite a few years, and I just briefly revisited this spot for the sake of this video, I could give maybe like a 50% guarantee that I can play it decently. Well, if you want, we can make an experiment just to see how well it goes when I don't feel particularly in shape. Okay, let's try. So it's like very mixed bag of results. But what helps a lot is to learn it in a not intuitive way. So because most learners probably would try to either move horizontally or using a downward trajectory, because also we have a legato, so people automatically think like going down. But actually what is more useful here is to learn it by, again, pushing off the keys and falling on a stable finger by opening the wrists a little bit and stabilizing the pinkies like this.
Oh, damn. So
you can try to just practice like this.
So starting on the key.
Yes, you start on the key and
onto
push
stable
off.
thing.
And this is also what is quite challenging for many learners in my experience, to get used to the idea that sometimes our bodily parts, like fingers and the arms, forearms, they have to do different things. The fingers go down, they press the keys, but the forearm goes up. And this happens simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. That's it. So you just basically work on this by activating your fingertips and stabilizing your pinkies. Try to, you can also modify this a little bit and raise your forearms not too much, but only as much as to feel the keys with your fingers. And then you land securely at the key, but making sure that you have stability in the fifth fingers here.
Just to clarify, when you say stability, that's just having that...
means that they are not collapsing, yeah. The joints are not collapsing.
I'm feeling that they collapse in the left hand and the right hand.
That's why you have a little bit of a wrist tension, so it goes up as a natural reaction to it. So the ideal situation would be to strengthen this muscle here, which withholds your knuckle of the fifth finger, and offload the wrist. Yeah.
Yeah, and the black key, I tend to go very flat, just for security.
So here, I know, yeah, but for the sake of this exercise, I would also suggest you to just concentrate it a little bit here.
Yeah.
Relax. Make sure to relax the other fingers really well.
Oh, that's...
Exactly.
Yeah, the black keys that's very...
Yeah, I know.
I've been just about clinging on.
Of course, we use a flat... the flattened fingers here. But when you practice slower, you really want to hang on them a little bit more. Here. So that's helpful. Of course, you need multiple days with this. But if you just rewire your thinking, not thinking in downward curve trajectories, but rather, then it will be much easier. It will kind of allow you to relax. Because what happens here is that we should not be tense between this and this. Should be absolutely loose.
So I fell into that trap when I started this. I was...
Yeah, you try
just
to
feeling
I have to kind of like cover
yes.
it and reach it, which is not productive. As soon as we see a slur, we want to like connect it physically, even if it's like what can you connect here? It's impossible.
Okay.
Nice job with the last one.
Oh dear.
That's what counts. Okay, again, it would be... Well, actually, you're doing pretty much better than me, I think. I messed up big time when I tried to show this. But what would help you to move further is to still relax quicker. Yeah? So, because you're still trying to make it on one tension, kind of, yeah, instead of breaking it into elements. What helps a lot is just not to rush, so you extend the distance between them. Just making sure that there is enough distance for you to relax and to reset your hands between the leaves. And another thing is that you want to play it lighter, because when you want to play it loudly, you tense up more. So the way to go with this part is to play it elegantly.
This octave jump.
It was already much better, and it looked better.
This high register seems to throw me off completely. Just that slight adjustment. I wonder if I need to move my body so that it feels.
Good question. It's very interesting, but for me, this register is actually easier. When I get here, I'm like, okay, now it's going to be easier.
I think I'm the opposite.
Oh, okay, I see why. Yeah, I know why. Because you're a little bit tense here. So allow your arms to open up a little bit. So, there's a little bit of a debate. What leads what? Whether it's a finger which leads our arms or arms which lead our fingers. In this case, I would say that probably it's the arm which leads the fingers.
I go too far. I go not far enough. Sometimes I get it.
It's very hard to have a live performance of this part, which would be perfect.
So, there you have it. I hope you've picked up some good strategies for dealing with these pieces. But there are obviously many more awkward passages out there, and I'd be really curious to hear which ones you've grappled with. If you leave your suggestions, maybe Dennis and I will go through them together. Big thanks to Dennis for being such a patient teacher. Go and subscribe to his channel, check out his courses, and thank me later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.